Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the Marvel Legends 80 Years The Mighty Thor figure, which is basically a replacement for the Series 3 Thor from ages ago, which actually held up really well and is a really solid figure, especially for the time. It was exceptional. I'm going to tell you right off the bat, just like I did with Iron Man, this one wins. If you have that one, nice. You don't necessarily need this one, but I would suggest you get it, because you clearly like Thor figures at least enough to have one. You should have this one too. If you don't have that Thor figure, then definitely get this one. Also, it seems to be the easiest one to come by of all of the 80s figures, because 80-year figures, because I guess it's Thor and people don't like him as much. But I've seen a few of them floating around, so if you need one, go check your Walmart. You'll probably be able to find one, or it is available at Big Bad Toy Store with the link in the description below. But it is a really, really nice figure with a couple of dumb things, but all in all, it's really cool. So let's go ahead and get it off the stand and take a closer look. This guy stands roughly 7.5 inches, I think, which makes him roughly 18.5 centimeters, I think. And I say I think because I can't move mine. I can't move his head. The head itself will pop off just fine, but they freaking glued this. There's glue all over his neck, and this is glued. So I haven't been able to, or haven't had a chance to. I need to get something in there and try to pop it open so that I can actually rotate that hinge, pivot, swivel thing, but it's a hinge. But it's glued. It is 100% glued in place. So attaboy, Hasbro. Way to go. Good job. Why is there glue there? We don't know. We just did glue. There's glue. That's how Hasbro does stuff. Should we put glue on it? Yes. Where? Yes. Put the glue on the figure. So that's definitely a problem, but that's not going to be something you guys all experience, I hope. And the rest is, mostly. So this is good news. First of all, we're using these arms, which should look somewhat familiar to you, and they are really, really nice arms. They have a lot more of an organic sculpt than we're used to seeing. Yes, we have this armpit situation going on, and a lot of people are like, oh, that's his muscles. Nah, it's not. It's most definitely not. That's not what muscles look like, and it's just part of their engineering. However, the other figure that had these arms had a bit of a problem rotating them up, and we'll get to this in a minute, but this one doesn't, so it's much nicer. So the arms look really good. We have a really nice sculpt work for the torso, lots of stitch work, or at least wrinkles and some seams on there. Very nicely sculpted. This part is all nicely sculpted. He's actually got the right proportions for his legs. He's got thicker thighs, thick calves, and skinny knees, ankles, and feet, and it looks wonderful. It's amazing to me how much the proportions make a difference. Actually, it's not amazing. I expect that to be the case, but it's amazing when they actually do it, because they don't normally, and this is how it should be done. Heroic proportions make heroes look more heroic. It's a novel concept, really. Excellent work on this guy. Same thing down here. They did a really good job sculpting his boot thing wraps. It's a really weird design, but that's what he looks like. So yeah, that's really nicely done. And even the cape. Yeah, I know I complain about capes being windswept, but at least this one is offset. So you see how it's out on the left at the bottom, but then out on the right at the top? That balances it out. That's fine. Like, it looks okay like that. Now, when they do the ones where they just come down and sweep off to the side without poofing out at all, it looks silly, but this one they did a good job, so that's good. And the cape has shading on it, which looks bad, but I like that they put shading, but what the heck? Why do they just have, like, spots? That's not how shading works. That's weird. So, yeah, you know, it's Hasbro. They do some good, and then they're like, nope, pull it back, and they do. But all in all, it's a really aesthetically appealing figure. The face isn't all stretched out to the side. It's pretty dang good. Lots of different molded plastics. I like it. Aesthetically speaking, not counting the fact that mine is stuck looking up, I'm going to give this guy a 9 out of 10. You'll notice I do have a scratch here. I'm not counting that. I don't expect that's a universal issue. So aesthetically speaking, this figure is exceptional. Definitely has some flaws, but it is exceptional. As far as accessories go, we have a fist hand to replace his style pose hand. And we have his hammer. The hammer does look really nice, and it does have the inscription on there, and it is legible, so that's pretty cool if you like that sort of thing. I don't know if I do. I kind of like the more generic looking ones, but this is fine, and it doesn't matter, so that's totally up to you. That's just my own color commentary, so to speak. But yeah, it's a nice accessory, and we have one hand, and that's it. So it's kind of light on accessories. I'll give it a 7. I think a little bit of a lightning, or at least a single whooshy thing for the hammer or something would have been great. He's definitely lacking. I understand why, but I don't care. It's not my job to make the budget work, it's theirs. And they can do better. So, moving on to the articulation. Well, we already covered the head. I can't I can't show you. It looks like it would work nicely, but because of the hair and because of the glued neck, I can't move the head really at all as it stands, so that's not a good situation. As I mentioned, the shoulders actually work nicely this time, so that's good. That's better. It goes up horizontal. You do have full rotation. Of course, we have the little wingy thingies up here, so that'll kind of flare them out a bit, but no big deal. Bicep swivel is fine. Double jointed elbow gives you plenty of range. That's good. The wrist things are floaty. Wrists have a swivel and a hinge. That's all nice. Diaphragm joint for the upper, and that works pretty nicely. It's a pretty good diaphragm joint. It's okay. Down here we have a swivel, so that's pretty cool. It's a nice combination of joints. You don't really need an ab crunch in addition to. This is kind of a good example of why they don't need to do those reverse ab crunches. That don't really help. If you do a good diaphragm joint, that's really all you need. It should be a little bit lower if that was all you're going to have. But having the twist and the diaphragm joint gives you plenty of posability. You can pretty much do whatever you need to do, and that's fine. Yes, he could lean over farther. It's not a perfect diaphragm joint, but it is a good combo. I like it. Plus, you'll notice these joints look way better than an ab crunch. Ab crunches are ugly, relatively speaking, except for very few instances where they can be hidden, so I don't mind a trend toward diaphragm joints. If we can get rid of the reverse ab crunches, I think we're onto something here for Hasbro. So I kind of like that. As for the hips, they do go out to the side exceptionally well, so that's really good. They don't really go back at all. They go forward, but it kicks them out to the side, and they don't go all that high up. But I think it's probably enough. I mean, you'll be able to get some poses done. It's not going to be the most dynamic of poses, but you know, it's acceptable. Thigh swivel is fine. Double jointed knee is fine. We do get a boot swivel in here, so to speak, kind of sort of a boot swivel. It's a shin swivel. The ankles go all the way back. They go pretty far forward, and you get a solid ankle rocker. So articulation on this guy is pretty darn good. Definitely some room for improvement, but they are definitely hitting their stride with these 80-year figures. I don't know if they're just like, we're sure they're going to sell, put some money towards it, make the fans happy, then go back to making the crap for the regular waves. I'm kind of guessing that's what their meeting sounded like, but I don't care because these turned out great. So articulation on this guy gets an 8 out of 10. And now it's time for the final verdict. The aesthetic is pretty great. The accessories are pretty acceptable, and the articulation is better than average. This is by far, without a doubt, unquestionably, irrevocably, the best classic-looking Thor figure at this price point ever. Definitely from Hasbro. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It is great, and you should get it. So my final verdict is 9 out of 10. Still room for improvement, for sure. Speaking of which, somebody complained, you never give figures a perfect score. Yeah, that's correct. When's the last time we got a perfect figure? Never. That's why they don't get a perfect score. It's not up to me what I decide what the score is based on what they give me. I don't get to choose if they're perfect or not. I'd wish they were all 10s. It would put me out of a job, but I'd have a cool collection. People are weird, man. Okay, anyway, I gave you the ranking, so there it is. Go away now. No, I'm just kidding. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, please do subscribe. I have thousands of videos already on the channel and new ones coming out daily, so make sure you come back for all of that. And in the meantime, keep collecting. Now go away.